Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Focus TV. Glad to be here with you all. We got Octavia Wyatt, Cardell Dudley Jr. We got Raymond Lyons. Octavia's going to be right back. She's not the only one. I took a break during that highlight too, but we got a lot planned for you guys tonight. As you guys just saw, Cardell got a chance to get out the area for a little bit, find his way to another gym yet again because that's what he likes doing in his free time. Apparently, he's gonna talk a little bit more about the Pangos All-Freshman Sophomore camp standouts. Ray and I got a couple new teams for you. The DMV College Preview, of course. Jamal Hayward's back with the 9-4-50 breakdown, and then Cardell is gonna share some PYBL Week 2 standouts, and if we have time, a little bit of rapid fire because what better way than to torture the three of us? Cardell asking us a couple questions about what's happening in sports throughout the week. So, Octavia, your division, have at
it. Sorry about that. Headphones were about to die, so I had to grab a spare. Yeah. The two games that happened in the division this week kind of sums up the entire division. It's just a mess every which way you look at it. We'll start with the Thursday night game, which was the Eagles versus the Giants. I don't know what was going on in this game either. The Eagles were able to win 22-21. The Giants, Daniel Jones was 20 of 30, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 4 carries for 92 yards, and 1 lost fumble. Wayne Gallman had 10 carries, 34 yards, 1 touchdown, and 5 receptions for 20 yards. Sterling Shepard had 6 receptions for 59 yards and 1 touchdown, and Golden Tate had 1 reception, 39 yards for 1 touchdown. On the other side of the ball, Carson Wentz was 25 of 43, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 rushing touchdown. Boston Scott had 12 carries for 46 yards, 3 receptions for 46 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Richard Rodgers had 6 receptions for 85 yards. Again, before I start this section, let me start off by saying both teams still are really, really bad. So it's a bad team beating a bad team. Luckily, we were a little bit better bad team, I guess, but you can't even really say that. I personally really believe the Giants had a lot of mental errors in this game that caused the Eagles to be able to capitalize on it to come back and win the game. I was impressed by some of the things that the Eagles were able to do. Again, another coming back from behind win. Although the last 2 weeks they didn't win, but they were able to stay in the game against much, much better competition than this would have been. But to still have the poise to, stay in the game and come back. They were down by 12 points with less than 6 minutes left in the game. I honestly was a wreck. I thought it was over. I was like, we're really going to lose to the Giants. This cannot be life. But they showed a little glimmer of hope, being able to now be leading the NFC East. But again, I believe the Giants beat themselves. Daniel Jones, if you haven't seen it, I don't know where you've been. This is probably going to be the funniest play taking place of the butt fumble. But in all actuality, at least he was able to run that fast. They said that at his fastest during that 80-yard sprint, he got up to 21.2 miles per hour, which was even faster than Lamar Jackson. So he has wheels, maybe too much that he didn't know he had that much. But yeah, the face plant was crazy. But luckily they were still able to score. But yeah, Boston Scott made a great catch at the end of the game. He's 5'6". I don't know how he saw the ball. Those type of throws make me believe in Carson. It's those type of throws, those type of decisions, putting the ball, being accurate. That's the Carson I remember. It's the pick that he threw to Bradbury that drives you crazy. He makes bad decisions at the worst times, and it's not like small bad decision. It's like, what are you thinking? Like, what did you see? Type of situation. So we were lucky to get out of that with a win, to be completely honest. The Giants missed a huge opportunity in the first half. It was fourth down. They were getting ready to punt. They didn't know if they were going to punt, stay on the field. They switched at the last second. The punter came out, realized that we didn't have our return team in. They had a wide open person going down the left side of the field. That player never turned his head because the punter was actually going to throw him the ball. But because he never even looked, they still punted the ball. So we actually got away with that again, being confused, not knowing what's going on. These are the same signs that we deal with every day. Deshaun Jackson looked better in his first game back since week 1. I will say, watching him, I was like, okay, because I'm on the Deshaun Jackson needs to retire bandwagon. It's hard. He gets hurt every other week. And I was surprised when he came out, he looked as well as he did. But again, in Deshaun Jackson fashion, he is injured with a fractured ankle, similar to the same injury that Dallas Goedert has, except he's supposed to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. So we had him for a hot second, and that's it. So I don't know what else to say about this game. The Eagles will play the Cowboys next Sunday night, and the Giants will play. They'll play the Bucks on Monday night. Oh, I think I lost you guys. Sorry. Sorry, I thought I had more time on my headphones than I did. Apologize about that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I thought I had more time on my headphones than I did, and everything froze. But moving on to the last game in this week, the Washington football team played the Cowboys. The Washington football team was successful in their first win against the Cowboys in a while, I believe. 25-3. Yeah, the Cowboys had 3. Washington football team had 25. On the Cowboys side, Andy Dalton was 9 of 19, 75 yards, 1 interception, and 3 carries for 16 yards. Third string quarterback Ben DiNucci, 2 of 3, 39 yards. Ezekiel Elliott had 12 carries for 45 yards, 1 reception for 6 yards, And Amari Cooper had 7 receptions for 80 yards. On the other side of the ball, Kyle Allen was 15 of 25, 194 yards, 4 carries for 11 yards. Gibson had 20 carries, 128 yards, 1 touchdown. McLaurin, 7 receptions, 90 yards, 1 touchdown. And Logan Thomas, tight end, had 4 receptions for 60 yards and 1 touchdown. Man, it was tough to watch this game. We've talked about it all year. The Cowboys defense has been dismal, to say the least. But you always know with divisional games, especially between the Washington football team and the Cowboys, there always seems to be, doesn't matter how bad either team is doing, they seem to still be able to have somewhat of a good game. And as you see, the Washington football team was able to drive down the field, starting off, get all the way to the 1-yard line, and the Cowboys were able to hold them off, turnover and downs, and didn't do much for them. They were able to strip sack on Dawson and then tackle Schultz in the end zone, and they got a safety. And it was kind of from there on, it was no looking back. The Cowboys defense still looks very, very, very bad. Their offensive line is still a mess, so Zeke wasn't really able to get any type of push, get any type of separation anywhere to get any rushing yards. The defensive line on the other side of it for the Cowboys were just as bad. The Washington football team had 208 yards rushing in this game. Out of every game that they've had this year, they haven't reached over 80 yards. So they basically doubled that and then some in one game.
it just looked bad from top to bottom, which was even worse. Is I feel like the Cowboys are losing their heart. Andy Dalton took a terrible hit by Bostic, a late hit to the helmet after he had already given himself up. What's crazy is not one person came to his defense. You know, in previous years, I've personally seen it being an Eagles fan. We played against them. If we hit their quarterback, it was a fight. You know, you never want to see people actually fight or anything like that, but you want to see them stand up for their players, especially seeing what happened to Dak last year. And I mean, not last year, knowing what happened to Dak, 2 weeks ago. Like nobody did anything. It was just like, oh, he hit the quarterback, and now you have the third string Ben DiNucci. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I didn't know who their third string was after that happened. I was like, who's after Andy? And I'm sure a lot of them didn't know either. But it's been really bad for them. The Washington football team, on the other hand, like I said, they looked really good. They were actually able to put together a complete game. I feel like they started off well. Kyle Allen was able to push the ball down the field. McLaurin was able to be McLaurin. He's continuously the bright spot for them. Gibson's also a bright spot for them. Chase Young was everywhere. I love Chase Young. I wish we would have gotten him, but he's going to be a monster as he continues to grow in the league. And it's just bad all the way around. But what's still crazy is all these teams still mathematically can win the division and get a home game in the playoffs. But like I said, the Cowboys will play the Eagles next Sunday night. The Washington football team is on a bye. Also, while speaking about them, much shout out to Ron Rivera, who was finished his 7 weeks of cancer treatments. So we wish him the best. It looks like he's trending in the right direction. I'm sure he still has to get checked out regularly, but congratulations to him for beating it so far. But that's all I got so far. The NFC East is just still bad, guys. Nothing's changed. Finally,
before we move on, I just want to say I'm jealous. 4 wins in y'all division would be like, you're king of the world. 4 wins in the division, my team is looking at everybody else with 5 wins.
We got to take it how we can get it.
Man, that's crazy. I was struggling. Look at y'all division, and you can tie 3 games being first. Everybody got a chance, man.
I think they did a simulation, and they're like, it's mathematically possible,
Yeah, it's crazy. We're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, Cardell gonna find out who made the list this week at the 2020 Pangos All-Freshman and Sophomore camp. You're watching the Focus TV. We will be right back. All right, welcome back to the Focus TV. Octavia just finished talking about her favoriteest division in the whole wide world. Moving on again, Cardell, 2020 Pangos All-Freshman Sophomore camp. Who stood out, man?
There's a few names, but let me just start out by thanking Dinos Trigonis for having me out there. For those that don't know, obviously he's the director of all the Pangos camps. One of the more respected evaluators in the country. He started his publication Full Court Press in 1994, and he's pretty much the go-to guy on the West Coast, man. He done seen them all since that time. So, and not just through Cali, all the best from around the country for the most part. This camp is kind of like the prelude to getting to the main event, the Pangos All-American camp. He has regional camps throughout the country. Invite the top players from that region to come out and battle. In front of evaluators in front of him. And this weekend was no difference. It was the East Coast turn. Pretty much prospects from up north like New York all the way down to Florida. All the way west to about Ohio. It was a lot of young prospects. So I was just eager to see who the next wave coming up is, and high school. And they're talented, man. They're way more polished than what we were, in 9th and 10th grade. I mean, I think the average size was about 6'4", my size, already in the 9th and 10th grade. I mean, it's just ridiculous how advanced they are at that same age, and how physically advanced they are, and they still have room to grow. That's the scary part. But the event took place at 76ers Fieldhouse, which is where the Sixers G League team, the Delaware Blue Coats, play. And what I liked about it, it was organized, first class, very structured. And they roll the balls out, just let you show what you could do, man. It's coaching, refs. It's not like a pickup game for instance, because you are being evaluated, and what you do here will get you invited to the big camp. Playing at the big camp has, it helps your career moving forward as far as like getting advice if you maintain the elite status, McDonald's game and top, post game All-American games like that later on in the season. So it means a lot for you to play well. So it's not just a thing where they roll the balls out and you trying to get 30. If you get 30 within the floor, that's great. But trying to ISO and do all that, that's not gonna get it done. But without further ado, here's some guys that stood out, some of the youngest. I'm gonna start with Rashawn Locke Hicks, 5'5" point guard, class of 2023. He plays high school at St. Cofer Freedom in Pennsylvania. Highly skilled floor general with IQ and feel beyond his age, man. The way he found guys time after time for scoring opportunities was fun to watch. Defensively, he was looking like a young Muggsy Bogues. Being 5'5", he better be a pest on ball, you know what I'm saying? Because other guards would try to take advantage of him. Opposing guards finally got smart, eventually, and gave the ball up, let somebody else bring it up because he was just too much. He was turning them too much, or he was ripping them. So get the ball up and move up court. But to be so small, had that big of an impact on the game, speaks volumes for his future and potential. I love what he brought this weekend. Next up is Ian Jackson, 6'6" wing, freshman, 2024 class out of Cardinal Hayes in New York. He's a multi-dimensional wing with pro-level athleticism already as a freshman. He was going between his legs for dunks and warm-ups with consistency. And when he got out on the break and took off, it was already known to move out the way. He's just a freak athlete. Lastly, his energy is rare. He plays all out like a walk-on trying to earn minutes. When you put all that together, I mean, it's clear that Jackson has a shot at, being a special player for years to come. Next up is James Moore, 6'8" wing, freshman class, 2024 out of Patrick School in New Jersey. His potential is off the charts, being 6'8", having great length, athleticism, and a growing skill set on the perimeter. He's still a bit raw offensively. However, you can forecast that he would be another lethal wing who could defend all 5 positions that we currently see dominating the NBA on down. He's also a very good shot blocker on the perimeter and at the rim. Another guard is Dwayne Pierce, 6'4" guard, same freshman class. And as you can see, that freshman class is crazy. 2024 out of Christ the King in New York. Plays with that New York flair, and he could put the ball in the hole, in a variety of ways. He's a shifty ball handler at 6'4". He can get to any place he wants on the floor and knock down shots or find teammates for baskets. He has a chance to be one of the more complete guards in his class when it's all said and done as he continues to get older. Right now, his mid-range game is just, especially off the bounce, is lethal. He's just a handful to deal with already, so I could definitely see him being one of the top-ranked players in his class as they continue to get older and older as they move up in high school. Next up is Chauncey Presley, 6-foot point guard, sophomore 2023 class out of Lincoln in Pennsylvania. He's just an isolation wizard. He just understands how to score the basketball. You know how we talk about Lou Williams, all quacks, he's just a professional scorer. Well, this kid has that in him as well. First game of the camp, he scored the first 10 points of his team's 12 points by breaking down defenders off the bounce one-on-one and scoring some tough baskets inside. He went 5 for 5. You know what I mean? They was trying to strap him, but he just know how to get to the spot, know how to finish, man. He just got a great knack and feel for scoring the basketball. But he can't get a little tunnel vision putting the ball up, you know what I'm saying? But, as long as he blends, getting others involved, he will be fine. And next up is Mason So, 6'1" point guard, sophomore 2023, Bishop O'Connell out of Virginia. Spoke about him briefly in the I-95 Coalition League, plays for Team Durant. So is one of those players that's just good at everything. There's nothing he can't do for a coach on the floor. Then once you mix in his field poison IQ for the game, you have a serious problem on your hands. So was as complete a guard as there was in attendance, and he consistently pounded that point home throughout the weekend. Moving forward, some players to definitely keep an eye on. Obviously, with time constraints, I can't get into everybody. Kwame Evans Jr., 6'4", sophomore, 2023, out of Baltimore Poly, in Baltimore and Maryland. Point forward phenom, plays for Team Durant. Spoke on him briefly as well with the I-95. They all play together. That's why they're one of the top 15 and under teams in the country. Next one that plays with him, Amani Hansberry, 6'7" forward, 2023, St. John's in D.C. Big man that can get it done inside and out. He's more of a bruiser. He reminds me a lot of, Othello Harrington, Georgetown Othello Harrington, man. Just knock down the jumper, but also dominates you in the paint. Another guard, Ralph Martino, 6'4" guard, sophomore class, 2023. Plays for NFC Academy in Florida. Leaper who loves to turn defense into offense, man. Like he lives to get steals and take it the other way so he can show off in the air. That's what he does. Sean Simmons II, 6'6" guard, sophomore class, 2023, out of France Central. Another one from that loaded Team Durant 15 and under team. To me, he's arguably the best wing prospect that was there in attendance. Skywalker, he has pro-level talent. It's just on him to keep working and to nurture that so when it's time, he can be able to showcase that. Delaquan Warren, 6'1" guard, 2024, Spire Institute out of Ohio. Explosive guard that's unstoppable attacking the basket in transition or off the bounce getting to the basket. Bryson Wilson, 6'5" guard, sophomore, 2023 out of Murray in D.C. Smooth shooting guard that can score efficiently from all three levels. And Malachi Wright, 6'6" forward, 2023 class, first state college prep out of Delaware. Athletic, long, versatile forward who's at his best playing within himself. When he gets out, when he tries to do too much, he hurts himself. But when he just do what he do, he's a problem. And we'll be back with the PYBL saying out soon.
And y'all might as well start learning something. One thing I usually do, I usually try to jot down a couple names there and the times that Cardell takes trips out the area. That way, when a name pops up in a little while, you're not lost, you're not confused, you're not like, hey, where did that come from? Be like, there's a reference point, So that way you get a chance to stay a little bit more, educated about things when they happen. Just there's nothing wrong with just taking a couple notes, man. I know I do. All right, so we're going to take another break. But before we do that, Jamal Hayward, as always, 9450 breakdown. This week, he will be breaking down transition probe and also probing off the screen. Again, transition probe and also probing off the screen. Jamal Hayward, the 9450. We'll see you guys after the break.
So Everett Gardner, you're going to work on 2 versions of the probe. So it's going to be a lot of work for you. So if you guarding me here, I'm making a move once I get by him. Now, you're guarding me. So I'm holding the ball, position contact. I'm holding the ball. Comes on the left side. Now I'm over here. Now you're guarding me here. Again. Stop. So again, make sure. Here. When we're probing. He's guarding me again. Once I get by him, far away, he comes on the other side. The other side is that. Now we're here again. The ball out, run away the shot, okay? 10 makes. So, Everett Gardner, we're going to work on 2 versions of the probe. So, it's going to be a lot of work for you. So if he's guarding me here, I'm making a move once I get by him. Now you're guarding me. So I'm holding the ball, position contact. I'm holding the ball. He comes on the left side. Now I'm over here. Now you're guarding me here. Again. Stop. So again, make sure. Here. When we're probing. He's guarding me again. Once I get by him, far away, he comes on the other side. The other side is that. Now we're here again. The ball out, run away the shot, okay? 10 makes.
Welcome back to the Focus TV, and as always, we want to give a special thanks to Jamal Hayward for knocking out the 9-4-50 so consistently and dropping gems in the process. All right, time for the DMV College Preview this week. Raymond taking on the Maryland men's. I'll be taking on the Howard women's. So, Ray, go ahead.
All right, man. Just going to dig into the Terps a little bit. They're going to look a little different this year. They're coming off a real successful season. They're most successful under Turgeon so far. They got to share the Big Ten title for the first time. As I said, it's going to be a lot of new faces in College Park. Just a couple guys that will no longer be there. Of course, Anthony Cowan graduated. Jayla Smith declared for the draft, and they had 5 players to transfer. Among them is Ricky Lindo, the Mitchell twins, and Joshua Tomic. They're all gone. Maryland, they were hit hard by the transfer portal, and they were kind of unable to make that ground, so to speak, on the addition side. A lot of big names did express some interest, but they decided to go with other programs. Most notably, they missed out on Bryce Aiken, transfer from Howard. He averaged 22 points per game last year. Also, Jared Bruner and Patrick Tate. They had Maryland on their short list, but they decided to go elsewhere. For Maryland coming into 2021 season, it's tough coming off a highly successful season like they had last year, and then basically have more than half of your roster upended. And people's expectations are going to be tempered just because you had some personnel shuffle. But all in all, they're gonna have 8 new faces, 3 freshmen, 2 transfers, and 3 walk-ons. I'm just going to get into those guys a little bit. As far as the recruits, Anquan Smart, he's a freshman, 6'3" combo guard, steady shooter, and he can set the table for his teammates. He brings it on the defensive end as well. And Turgeon's described him as a high character guy, which is, it's always a good attribute to have, especially coming from your head coach. Also, Marcus Dockery, another freshman, 6'1" combo guard. He's a local kid. He played at O'Connell before going to Brewster Academy. He actually led them to a national prep championship. And, if you know anything about basketball, Brewster has been an NBA factory. So Dockery being able to excel there speaks volumes about him and his game. He's a highly capable playmaker, high basketball IQ, and he moves well without the ball, which should help Maryland's offense that, they kind of seem to be a little stagnant in the past. But, they're hoping for him to be able to develop into a leader the same way Anthony Cowens did. Also, another addition is Arno Rivas. He's a 6'10" forward, played for the Swiss national team, also played for JL Borg. That's a French pro team. They play in the Pro A League, which is one of the best leagues in France. He's a late bloomer. He didn't start playing until he was 15. He's raw, but he got a good feel for the game. But he definitely should see some quality minutes with the way Maryland's front court has been depleted. Some transfers that Maryland did hit on. They were able to get Galen Smith. He's a 6'9" forward / center from Alabama. He doesn't have Jalen Smith's capabilities in regards to stretching the floor. He mainly operates out the post, but, he's a fairly decent rim protector. Should be a good addition for the Terps. Jairus Hamilton, a 6'8" forward from Boston College. He averaged 9 points, 4 rebounds as a sophomore last year. He's excellent in transition. He rebounds the ball effectively. Turgeon, he actually recruited him out of high school, but but Hamilton, he decided to go to Boston College first, but him kind of ended up in Maryland anyway. It's sort of a full circle thing. Then Maryland, they also welcome in 3 walk-ons. Jay Brambit, he's actually joining the team as a preferred walk-on from Pacific University. He was there for 2 years, but didn't see much time. He's just looking for a new opportunity in Maryland. He's a local kid as well. He went to Bethesda Chevy Chase. Also welcoming Aiden McCool. I had a successful high school career in South Carolina, averaged 14 points per game. He's also a 1,000-point scorer at Bishop England. Then Connor Odom, he's another local kid as well. He went to Archbishop Spalding, finished up at Oak Hill. Actually has a basketball pedigree. His dad is Ryan Odom. He's famously the coach of UMBC they knocked off Virginia as a 16 seed a couple years ago in the tournament. Odom did consider going to UMBC to play for his dad, but he just felt like Maryland was a better fit for him in his game, his development. All in all, it's this season is going to be just kind of weird for everybody. Things just got crazy with COVID, and especially with the season abruptly ending last year, just kind of threw everyone for a loop. But Turgeon, he's an experienced guy. He should be able to to kind of steer things in the right way. Nobody's expecting a miracle here. But with them grabbing the share of the Big Ten title last year, they have a target on their back. And like I said before, nobody's going to care that, they got 8 new faces in a Terps jersey this year. So, those guys are probably going to take some lumps and go through some growing pains. But, all in all, they should end up doing okay.
All right, to kind of continue the theme of – yeah.
Real quick, to finish up with Raymond, what's his name, Jarvis Hamilton? He just got cleared today, so they gave him a waiver, so he's eligible this year immediately, so he's going to play. And like you said, they needed that boost. They need a boost in the front court, so that's big news for the Terps. Go ahead, Will. It's on you.
No, you're good. Appreciate the update. Just want to continue the theme of new faces for programs. Howard women's basketball last season, they went 16-15, 7-9 in the conference. In terms of what they've lost, they lost their leading scorers, their 2 top leading scorers from last season due to graduation, and Ayanna Williams and Sarah Edmond at 15 and 13 points per game, respectively. Both players led the team in 3-point percentage, not attempts, but in 3-point percentage. Williams was right under 40, and Edmonds was, I think, 34%. Jayla Thornton was the team's 3rd leading scorer. Last year, she was a junior. She's the lone senior on this year's rosters. She'll be tasked with taking another step this season, not only helping the team score, but from a leadership standpoint, as the lone senior. Lynn Marsh led the team last year in the rebounding department with 7 boards a game. The Bison lost their 2nd leading rebounder from last season to graduation as well. All right, like Ray was talking about with Maryland with new faces, for Howard, this group, right, it's about who's going to be able to seize the opportunities in front of them, because there's opportunities to be had. 7 of the 13 players on this year's teams will be freshmen. That's Kaya Creek, Kashay Dixon, Kanaya Harris, Destiny Howell, Anzanae Hutton, Jayla Wade, and Anaya Wilson. Add to that 7, add 3 second-year players, and that's 10 of the 13 players on the roster are underclassmen. They brought in a talented group in the last 2 freshman classes, both this season and last season. But, it's about how quickly they get acclimated. And then, regardless of the sport, obviously how quickly they get acclimated to the collegiate level. But regardless of the sport, how quickly a team gels and people find and fall in and accept their roles to see where a team goes. At very worst case scenario, it's a great opportunity for her to kind of just build off a foundation for the coming years with such an influx of young players. But you still want to see what they're able to do and go out and compete and get done this season. Cardell, PYBL, week 2.
Yes, sir. For those that don't know, PYBL is holding a fall showcase at Athletic Republic, trying to give a lot of the area high school kids a chance to, showcase their talents in front of college coaches via live stream. Obviously, with the pandemic, the majority of the summer was lost, and they still trying to figure out the high school season. Some said that they're going to have basketball, but that's give and take right now. Obviously, with the spike in COVID cases and stuff, no one really knows what's going to happen. Just hoping for the best. So this is a big opportunity for these players, underrated, talented players from all around the area in the DMV to show these college coaches that they're worthy of a scholarship. And here's some that jumped out to me this past weekend. For the second week, Tyson Brooks, 6'4", 2021, out of Arundel High School. Slept on big man that can run the floor like a guard, bang inside, finish strong consistently, and step out and knock down mid-range jumpers. to me, he's nowhere close to his ceiling. You know, I think he's one of those kids that, you know, he might struggle a little bit wherever college he end up at. But after he get some seasoning, you know, get some work in, get used to the grind, he could be a force for you. You know, I think he's just one of those type of players, kind of similar to his growth throughout high school. Next up is Dylan Edwards, 6'2" point guard, you know, out of 2021 class, St. Andrews. Underrated floor general that can knock down shots from NBA range, facilitate the ball to his teammates. Well, sometimes he looks to pass too much and can score inside. He's a true extension of the coach on the floor. Defensively, he has to pick it up a bit, but he's capable. Next up is Marion Freeman, 6'1" point guard, 2021 class, National Christian Academy, GW commit. He honestly played with opposing defenders this week. I'm not even going to, you know, BS people. You know, he did whatever he wanted in a blowout win on Sunday for his respective team. He had jumpers with range, with consistency, had defenders sliding all over the floor as he got by them for layup after layup. You know, it was child's play. When he's on his game scoring the ball and finding teammates, you know, he's in the mix for the top point guard in the area. Next up is Shane Lancaster, 6'4" guard, junior, St. John's out of D.C. You know, he came up big in the clutch and the come from behind win for MVM training. He drove the length of the floor for timely, tough lay-ins. He swarmed defensively, getting deflections and forcing turnovers, and he capped all that off by hitting go-ahead free throws with 2 seconds left in the game. You know, Lancaster has the tools, athleticism, skill. It's just about him consistently putting it all together. That's the question. Once he begins to do that, he could be anywhere from mid to high major. He's that talented. Next up is Jared Turner, you know, 6'6" guard, junior out of Gonzaga. Junior wing shot lights out for MVM Saturday. Turner shooting alone overwhelmed multiple defenders as he got loose for 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists on 6 of 8 shooting from deep. You know, Turner has a nice all-around skill set, man. He's starting to emerge as an impact wing in his fall showcase. Moving forward, here's some other players to keep an eye on. Mike Gray, 5'11" point guard, Landon. Strong, relentless, undersized floor general who gets it done on both ends, junior. James Gross, 6'3" guard. He's a senior at Rock Creek Academy. Super athletic combo guard that's a dangerous slasher and aggressive finisher at the basket. Julian Reese, a Maryland commit. He's the brother of Angel Reese, 6'9" forward center, you know, senior. Stretch for a big who can make plays inside and out. Dejuan Waters, 6'5" guard, senior, out of good counsel. He's just a natural scorer that's, you know, a tough cover from anywhere on the court. He's very crafty, and he knows how to use his size to make plays. And next up is Mike Woods, 6'4" guard, senior 2021 class, Frederick Douglass High School. He's just continuing to do what he started at the I-9 Coalition League where he won MVP and led his team to the 17 and under championship. Scoring in bunches, playing tough defense, rebounding, just being a tough competitor, man. You know, he's just continuing to do what he does, man. And, you know, he has a couple low major offers, but, you know, if he keeps it up, you know, doing what he did at I-95, leading his team to deep in the playoffs and the championship, I definitely see more programs starting to bite.
All right, on to rapid fire. We got time for a couple questions. What you got for us this week, Cardell?
Lakers guard Danny Green on a proposed December 22nd start to next season. He said if we start in December, I think most guys are like, I'm not going to be there. To have that quick of a restart, I wouldn't expect LeBron to be there for the first month of the season. The NBA tips off next season on December 22nd. As NBA owners are pushing for, it is obviously still being negotiated. There will be just 73 days between the end of the NBA Finals and the start of next season. That's about half a usual offseason, 140 days, give or take. Obviously, you know, for players that played deep in the playoffs, especially in the finals, you know, prioritizing rest and recovery like LeBron seeing out the start of the season may not be out of the question. With that said, players in general and the players union are expected to largely buy into the earlier start date. Brian Windhorst talked about it, you know, on his podcast. He said there are a couple reasons for this. It is projected that the early start date increases NBA revenue. It's always about money, by about $500 million, half of which goes to the players, you know, under the terms of the CBA. The NBA is a business, and that's a lot of money for players to walk away from. Second, many players want to get back on something closer to a regular schedule so they can have their summers back. Just what are your thoughts on the overall take from Danny Green and, the overall impact as far as business-wise with the NBA when it comes to the restart? We're going to start with you, Octavia. You're muted. Yeah, we gonna get back. We gonna come back to you. Go ahead, Raymond.
This is a tough one. Like that's definitely a quick turnaround. Especially like you said, for those guys that went deep into the playoffs. But on the other hand, you brought up that they want to get it back to close to business as usual as possible. So I mean, it's going to have to happen at some point in order to get this thing back on a regular schedule. So I mean, if they do start in December, I truthfully speaking, I wouldn't even be surprised or mind if guys weren't there at the beginning. It is what it is. It's going to have to happen at some point. At some point, there's going to be that quick restart, because unless we're just going to change the schedule of NBA forever, which I don't see that happening. But yeah, man, Danny Green would know better than me of what NBA guys are feeling in regards to this, and what their bodies have gone through, and the type of rest they normally get, and things like that. So and I understand the NBA's push to start the season, get it back as quickly as possible. At the end of the day, it is a business, and they have to operate within the best interests of their business. But yeah, man, it's just one of those decisions I'm not jealous of that I don't have to make. It will be interesting to see the NBA's stance and their attitude towards guys not rejoining immediately. I mean, I really don't think they would have much of a choice. The NBA is a players' league, so they would have to bend in some way from where I sit. But yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I personally wouldn't mind seeing this quick tip off. I already miss basketball, so it's a win-win for me. But again, I'm not in those guys' shoes. I don't know how they feel. I don't know where their mental is at. Especially coming off an experience like the bubble. Like I'm pretty sure even being beyond physically drained, they're mentally exhausted as well. So they probably need some extra recovery. But yeah, man, I'm just waiting like the rest of you guys to see how this plays out.
All right, Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, it's always about money. We know it's a weird year. Concessions are going to have to be made. Obviously, like you guys said, you're not going to want to fully shift the NBA calendar for the foreseeable future, for the next 8 to 10 years. So, obviously, somewhat of L is going to have to be taken. The other side of it is, you can't kind of drop it to 50 games and expect to get paid the same way too. So obviously, like you said, it's still in negotiations. And even if it's something where the teams that play deep into the playoffs, some of their guys rest, that's cool. At the same token, all 30-something teams weren't invited to the bubble. So some of them guys, they've been rested for a while. So, I mean, it's a negotiation. I'm sure they'll come to as close to a middle ground as they can. And I wouldn't be shocked as, the latest it gets pushed back to is January. But, yeah, concessions are going to have to be taken to a degree this year, because the last thing you want to do is go back to the table and all of a sudden drop, new CBA. Who knows if you get 50-50 after this? Like, I don't know, man. I just being realistic, some concessions are going to have to be made for the long term of this going forward.
Are you up? I'll tell you. Nah, you still did. Out of the way. I mean, I get it. I think for the playoffs, like the Lakers and the Heat, teams that made it deep in the playoffs, I think the restart will have to start how the owners are portraying. Like they said, it's recoup the money, but the owners gonna have to also understand that some of those teams and those star players from those teams that went deep in the playoffs may not be available right then and there. I'm not talking about the team's not gonna play. Obviously, they're gonna have to play. But I'm talking about like the stars, who carried a lot of the load, like the LeBrons and ADs. This is the one time where you can kind of excuse their load management. You know what I'm saying? Now, somebody did make a great point that, like, dog, y'all had 4 months off, before the restart happened. So it ain't like y'all played through all that, and then all of a sudden y'all got 70 days, and that's a good point. But the turnaround is crazy. You know what I mean? Just that long and mental grind and jump right back into the season and whatnot. But you can't hold the entire league up for like a handful of teams. The rest of the teams were out of it. They ready to get back hooping. They ain't hooping months. So they trying to get back to normal, the normal time. So I think it's going to have to restart. But I just think, people just going to have to be understanding of those other, the teams that went deep in the playoffs, including like the Raptors and Celtics, teams like that. Denver Nuggets, when star players are not playing as many minutes or playing at all due to low management, because they still have to recover. They're not thinking about January. They get back on, the regular grind and, just hooping. That's just my take from it. Last question is some positive news. Dez Bryant is back in the NFL. Baltimore Ravens signed a 3-time Pro Bowl wide receiver to their practice squad. The team announced today. Bryant has been out of the league for 2 years. Brian appeared to acknowledge the deal in a tweet. He said he's thankful. Obviously, he said he can't stop crying. The biggest question is when Bryant will suit up for the Ravens. Baltimore's wide receivers ranked last in the NFL in receptions at 58 and receiving yards at 737. Brian is 31. He could become a physical possession type receiver for Lamar Jackson and can complement the speed of Marquise Brown. The addition of Brian might also lead to a high-profile union when the Ravens played Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football, December 3rd. Brian also obviously started for the Cowboys for 8 seasons. What are your thoughts? We want to start with you, Mr. Cowboy. Raymond Nice.
It's good to see Dez get another shot. Especially going into the situation where he's on the practice squad. If he does eventually see game action, we'll know he's earned it. So it's not like a charity thing. He's got to work his way up. They probably just want to see what type of shape he's in. Having like you said, being away from the game for a couple years now. I think if he is able to work his way up into the lineup, it will be a good weapon for the Ravens to have. He's a receiver with good size and good hands. Like you pointed out, Cardell, he kind of complements what they already have. So that would it will be a nice addition for them. But yeah, it's always good to see guys get back into the league. Yeah, I love Dez when he was with us. It's don't really have too much thoughts on it, but just happy for the guy.
All right, Wilson.
It's a good fit just because one of the things is, the Ravens been going through. One, they got to deal with the offense coordinator. I've been there before. Greg Roman does Greg Roman things. That's another issue for another day. But one of the biggest things they're missing is they lost Hayden Hurst during the offseason. And I know he was a tight end, but a lot of their personnel groupings and things that they like to do, they just weren't able to, he's missing another reliable target in the middle of the field. Hollywood's not really that guy. Some of their other guys aren't really that guy. And, Dez, for some of the things we know that he can't do in terms of, he's never big on stretching the field and things of that nature. He's somebody who inside the numbers where Lamar likes to work, he should be able to provide a reliable target for him. It's just on how they're able to go about utilizing him. But I think it's a good fit. It'll kind of help the Ravens offense get out of some of the funk that they've been in at times, because they definitely missed Mr. Hurst right now. Really miss him.
Yes, they do.
Octavia, we able to? No? All right. Well, We will all be back,
You
including
sound
Octavia.
Typical of the NFC East. That's the quality. See, fans, the team. That's right now. Typical stuff, man. Like, God dang, dog. Typical.
I can't say anything. My team lost to one of them teams, so I got to be quiet. I can't laugh too much about it. That's it. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, man. We'll be back next week. Octavia will be back next week for another edition NFC East segment. For Cardell Dudley Jr. for Raymond Lions, Octavia Wilson Tarby Jr. As a reminder, get over to DCTV every Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. You guys can catch us there. Also, head over to their website or just, on TV. You got their channel. Check the listings. The show re-airs a couple other times throughout the weekend as well. Get over to finestmag.com, mominosports.com. Thanks again, Rodney. We appreciate you. We'll see you guys very, very soon.